kind of wanted to wait before I comment on the Los Angeles Lakers versus the LA Clippers. And like I told you guys on several videos, you can't really judge a team so early in the season to determine whether or not that team is not only going to make it to the playoffs, but win it all when it comes to the NBA championship. And a lot of people were crowning the Los Angeles Lakers of just because of their win-loss record, and they're not factoring in it's earlier in the season. You have to look at the opponents and how they favor those opponents. And a lot of those matchups, the Los Angeles Lakers were the bigger team. They were the aggressors. They utilized their size, and they won a lot of those matchups with those smaller ball clubs. Not to mention, the West isn't as dominant as it once was a couple of seasons ago. They don't have to worry about the San Antonio Spurs. They're rebuilding. They definitely don't have to worry about the Golden State Warriors due to a lot of injuries with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. That's one team you don't even have to worry about. Plus, they had to let go a lot of their players, and Kevin Durant left as well. So, look at the opponents that the Los Angeles Lakers have faced thus far. Sacramento Kings, the Phoenix Suns, Memphis, when you look at the Denver Nuggets, as well as the Dallas Mavericks. If you look at all those matchups, they're smaller teams. Okay, they may can shoot at the perimeter, but the Lakers, if they utilize their size, they're going to win a lot of those matchups, and that's what's taking place with the Los Angeles Lakers. A lot of people wanted to crown the Los Angeles Lakers were going to win it all. I feel like the Los Angeles Lakers are going to make it to the playoffs. I feel like LeBron James is going to ultimately be MVP of the regular season. But at the end of the day, I'm not going as far as them winning it all. And that's going to be the team representing the West, because like I said in multiple videos, you have to look at what the Los Angeles Lakers, when you look at their record, how they favor the Milwaukee Bucks, as well as the LA Clippers and the Philadelphia 76ers. Okay. A lot of and in a certain extent, the Boston Celtics. When you look at those teams, they're defensive oriented teams. They preach and practice team defense, okay? And a lot of those other teams I mentioned earlier, they practice more on the offensive side. So if they consistently throw their shots up, and those shots make it into the basket, that's going to increase their percentage as far as winning against the other opponents. But if the ball don't fall into the hole, they struggle. It's not like they can fall back on their defensive perimeter game plan, because they don't have one. Okay, and that's why I felt like the Los Angeles Lakers were going to win a lot of those matchups. Okay, now let's talk about the matchup of itself, the Clippers versus the Lakers. And even though the Clippers are, they have beaten the Lakers twice thus far, if you look at their team defense, they pretty much allowed the Los Angeles Lakers. They had to perform. They had to utilize other traits that was going to win the ball game, making them into a perimeter team, not allowing them to use their size, not allowing them to bully them closer to the basket. Okay, the Clippers have a lot of individuals that are team oriented as far as defense. And the Lakers were going to struggle. Not to mention the fact Paul George and Kawhi Leonard was already going to be a tough out for LeBron James when they defend him. But now Patrick Beverley has gotten into defending LeBron James. When you make LeBron James a perimeter player, when you make the Los Angeles Lakers a perimeter player, ultimately they're going to lose more than they win, because they really don't have enough perimeter players on their roster to combat that. Okay, so when they got into the trade, when they got rid of a lot of players of the Los Angeles Lakers, a lot of younger talent, even though I felt like they were better perimeter players than Kyle Kuzma. I feel like Kyle Kuzma would have been the first person to be traded for at least a veteran perimeter player, or two mid-level veteran perimeter players. Kyle Kuzma is not a consistent player. He can't consistently give you an average of 30 points a game. Kyle Kuzma, it'll be one game he can score 40. Next game he'll score 30. The next game he'll score 9, then 10, maybe 20, and you probably won't see another 40-point outburst from Kyle Kuzma. Okay, so I felt like his style didn't necessarily match up well with the Lakers. The Lakers need a perimeter player, and they need a consistent perimeter player. Okay, not to mention the fact LeBron James is at the point, and he's been really trying to convince Anthony Davis to re-sign with the Los Angeles Lakers, so much so that he has looked for Anthony Davis more so than any other player on the roster. Okay, so when you got a player like Kyle Kuzma, where you have to constantly keep feeding him the ball so he can feel comfortable, so where he can be consistent, you also are trying to worry about making Anthony Davis happy. And I felt like a lot of LeBron James' judgment calls, I felt like most of the time when he had the ball, when he played the point, he was making an emphasis of giving the ball more to Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, when you put him make him a perimeter player, is a decent perimeter player. He's going to make his mid-range shots and occasionally make a three every now and again. When you look at LeBron James, when you make him a perimeter player, now back when he was in his prime, he'll be pretty decent, but he's past his prime, and he needs to emphasize more of his old man game. And a lot of people are saying old man game. What is old man game? Having his back facing the basket and emphasize more of a low post game. Pat Riley tried to utilize that with LeBron James with the Miami Heat. LeBron James spent the summer with Hakeem Olajuwon. He's only spent one summer, very brief summer, practicing his low post game, and he just did not like it. When you're trying to convince someone who is ultra talented that can do multiple things on the floor, and then you try to add a caveat in as, you know what, you also need to try your low post game. The low post game is not a very popularized thing. Okay, it's not practicing your low post game is not a popular thing. A lot of NBA stars practice on their mid-range. They practice on their threes, and it's not a highlight reel type of activity. ESPN does not show a lot of low post games where a guy pushes the opponent closer to the basket and do a turnaround jumper. Okay, they don't talk about it as much because they don't emphasize it a lot, because it's not a very popular thing that a lot of fans want to watch. A lot of fans want to watch them dunk. A lot of fans want to see them hit the threes and the mid-range. Those are the more popular traits. LeBron James preferred doing that versus his low post, his practicing more on his low post game. And Pat Riley was trying to emphasize that. And LeBron James said, I'm too talented for that. But Pat Riley saw the future. He knew he could not continue to put up this type of talent, when he gets a lot older. And LeBron has been practicing a little bit on his low post game, but it's not a feature to LeBron James. Okay, so that's why he needs to emphasize that a little bit more if he wants to. Particularly when he matches up with Patrick Beverley, he will win that advantage if he pushes Patrick Beverley closer to the basket. I feel like he can win. I think he can win some with when Paul George defends him, and also Kawhi Leonard. You can't be too physical with players in today's NBA game. So he can put either Paul George or I don't know why I say Kuzma, Kawhi Leonard in foul trouble. Okay, so he's not utilizing that And I felt like if you use that, utilizes that more, they might have a chance of beating the Clippers. Okay, so that's all I gotta say on this video. You know, I know a lot of people were crowning them, and a lot of people were saying that not only they're gonna make it to the playoffs, but they're gonna win the NBA title. I feel like people need to slow down a little bit on that, because you have to see how the after the All-Star break, what teams do after the All-Star break. Do they turn it on? Do they add to their win streak? And I feel like after the All-Star break, you're going to start seeing load management policy took in effect for Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And how do the Lakers respond when if one of those players are not on the court? I feel like when both of them players are on the court, it increases the Lakers as far as winning a lot of their ball games. When you only have one of them, they struggle, okay? And they just don't have a lot of perimeter help, all right? So that's all I got to say. Guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. It's your boy, and I'm out. Deuces.